So today I'm gonna talk about the setup time, hold time, and delay time. And I'm gonna start from the example that I made before when I introduced the D flip-flop. So as a quick recap, what a D flip-flop does, basically starts, for instance, if we start with the 0 here, we get a NOT. So this D latch is enabled, this D latch is disabled. So while this one is enabled, it gets the data from, it just reads the data in input and it passes it to the output here. Then when the clock changes and goes to 1, then this one with a NOT goes to 0, so it stops reading the data and it just passes it to this other flip-flop, this other D-latch, which makes a bold flip-flop. So this other D-latch is actually, with enable to 1, so the enable is high, it's going to read the data which has been passed to through by the other D latch. So it reads this one and brings this one to the output. Now, if I have to draw this and make an example, let's start with a clock. Then we're going to have D for the data, and then we're going to show the output. So we start with a clock, and let's say that our clock looks something like this, and like this, and like this. Then our data D in input, let's say that it looks something like this. So it's gonna go high here. Okay, so before the clock, and then here, let's suppose that it's gonna go low, and then let's just assume that it's gonna stay low. Now, in the output, what we're going to see is a few interesting things. So the first, if we get, so Q is going to be our output. So if we get this time here, okay, between the initial part in which D has gone high and the clock is still low, here, this one is called setup time. So it's the time in which the data has to be ready. So it has to be already there before the clock rises. Okay, so you just have to be, ready. So it's called the setup time to get the data ready. Now, we're also going to have another time from here in which the data is already high and the clock goes high, to here when the clock is still high but the data goes low. So this time here instead, this time here is called hold time. So it's the time in which that basically it's hold because the data is high and the clock is high before it goes low. And of course, I'm going to have another time here, which is basically when the clock goes low and when we get the output. So basically our output is going to start low and it's going to stay low, low again, and then here it's going to go high and it's going to stay high all the way to here, and then it's going to go low and it's going to stay low, and from here to here, so from when this whole thing happened and when this other D latch finally got the output and we start to see something here, This one is called the delay time. So we can call this one delay time, as there is a delay between when, from when you basically get the input, and when from the data with the clock, and when you start to see the output. Because as I said, it uses cycles, because at the very beginning this one reads the data, this one is disabled, and it passes it to here, then at the next part of the clock, so the next clock, this one is disabled, this one is enabled, it reads the data, passes it through here, and it just goes to the output, as I said, because this one is enabled and this one is disabled. So as you can see, the output is not, immediately available, but that's the whole point. We're trying to make, some kind of memory here and store data. So, it kind of makes sense. So the key idea here, if you memorize it with a D flip-flop, is to basically think about what the setup time, the hold time, and the delay time actually mean. So the setup time, the data has to already be there. It has to be available before the clock rises. The hold time is, when the clock is high, the amount of time in which it's gonna stay, the data is just gonna stay high, is gonna keep, is, data is gonna be kept, because the clock is high and the data is high until the data goes low. So this is the hold time, because it holds the data. And then there is the delay time, which is the delay from which you basically start to see something into the output. So yeah, this is basically, it's not the super formal definition and some people used to say, but I kind of think that it gives you the idea of what those three terms actually mean. And it doesn't really matter for me to actually give you the formal definition, so on and so forth. It's actually, you have a professor, he's there for this at your course when you have lectures and so on. Those videos are actually for, for you to kind of understand things. There's just no point for me in being extremely formal. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, by the way. So stay tuned for the next episode. Bye for now.